Hello again, everyone. Today we're gonna kind of be doing like a follow-on from another video I did, um, where I looked at how to create hat patterns. In that video, I looked at how to create them by using Ableton's MIDI, the drum feature, on like any sample or reference track. But in this one, I'll kind of be looking at how to create those same kind of interesting variation hats using a tool by Alexkid, who basically is a developer who creates loads of Max for Live sequencers. And this particular tool is used in a similar way to like a 909, but to program hat sequences. And in theory, it could be used for other sequences as well, but primarily be looking at hats. So like I've got like a basic, what I refer to as the basic beat here. You get the point. It's basically like a kick and an open hat. So it's it can get quite repetitive quite quickly. So like I said previously, you might want like variations. So like hats to bounce off one another to make it more interesting, as opposed to just that offbeat hat. So I've basically done my own sequence which sort of bounces off and plays along with that open hat pattern. But I'll be doing a new one today. Using this. So it's called Hats4Days. It's by Alexkid, as I mentioned. You can get it on Isotonic Studios. I'll link that down below. There's plenty of, he's got like sequences for like drums, bass lines, acid, and like more specifically for hats, this tool. So that's what we're going to be doing. So I've got this sample in here. I'll take off. So it's a sequencer that's designed for hats. Basically allows you to program in like variations. I'll just kind of go through the tool. So first section is the trigger, which is basically so that's, if I just reset, I think all these. So that's basically if you want the note to play, you're hitting on or off. So all of them are on, so like that's your standard 16. And you're basically trying to click so that you find something that varies up your open hat, which would be on these beats here. So I've kind of programmed it off. So yeah, you can manually program in your trigger, and so these buttons are reset, so there'll be nothing, or you can randomize. So this is a definitive on or off, wherever the note plays, up to 16 bars, which you have the option to shorten. max 16 on these. So if I just go random, and you'll hear, like, we're using it for hats, but you could put a perc loop in there, create your own perc loop using this kind of thing as well. So the next section is basically, if I put all of these on this quickly, basically the probability that that note will actually play, so it can change up each time. So if you want even more variation, you can hit random, use the glitch in there. So yeah, basically, if it's on 100, it's definitely going to play. If it's on anything less, it's basically got that percentage chance of playing, so 48. So this will have a 55% chance, this note in particular, of playing, and it will change every time. So it'll have a 55% chance of playing one time, so it might play the first 16 bars, but then next it might not. So it can really add that variation over a long period of time. The next is probability of closed/open. So it's kind of like your standard drum machine, where if it was an open hat, well, it's basically the probability. If it's 100%, it will play an open hat. If it's 0, it will play closed. So you'll hear I think it obviously depends on what sample you're using. I've chosen an open hat sample, so it might not come across as like completely open, but it's basically a sustain pedal. It's a sustain switch. So does it play more of the sample, or does it close it off more? And then finally you have random in terms of like the velocity. So when you're drawing in notes, normally you can dial in velocity and make your hat patterns more interesting. So you can bring out certain notes, which can be a good way to add more variation, as opposed to just having every note at the same volume, especially if you're using like 16th notes. So that's all like these are like the main 4 sections. And then finally you can add swing up to 75. You can change its direction. To forwards to back, or to forwards and back combined. And then there's like things for velocity. So if you've got like probability of accents, you can alter how much the velocity of that accent is, essentially. So, oh yeah, I should have mentioned that this probability of accent is basically operating between 0 and 100. So 100, it will be accented. 0, it won't be. And it's the same with the closed and open. 100 is open, 0 closed, and everything in between. It leans between one or the other, essentially. It's pretty much like a sustain pedal. And then finally, this is basically randomizing everything. So it's, according to the site, it's been tuned to provide musical probability values. So it's basically like a starting point for generating these interesting patterns beyond just an open hat. So if I want to bounce, finally, because I've basically explained the tool now, if I just quickly bounce it out to another rack from Shaker. So see here, there's 2 different notes, so the closed and open, but you can put them all down onto one line, and that's your rhythm. Don't know why it's done that. If I just, now I can turn it off. It's a lot more driving and more interesting now. So yeah, that's pretty much how to use Alexkid's Hats4Days tool. How I would use it anyway, on hats, but you could quite easily swap out your samples for like percs as well. So it's basically another tool that I'd use if I was basically lacking inspiration, because that basic groove can get quite boring quite quickly. So like I would normally have anything from 1 to 4 hat patterns going on. Basically, to keep things interesting, you can take the open hat out and then it would just be a breakdown. So it would provide like a nice intro part before you bring the hat in, and then when you strip the hat out in the breakdown and stuff. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this one. I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll be doing a lot more of these. Some very focused tutorials like this one on specific elements like hats, and others more in depth, breaking down like artists' songs and stuff like that. Yeah, do all that standard stuff that people normally ask, and I'll see you in the next one.
Let's break it down.